Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. From Asthma Core Studios near Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, man.
It's the Weedsman Podcast.
I have no idea what's going on.
And now,
you have smoked yourself retarded.
here are the Weedsmen.
You want to get high?
Welcome to the Weedsman Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Aaron. Welcome back.
Yeah, you're back.
I'm back. We had to skip another week because of illness. A long illness.
That time
man.
of year.
Yeah, I got, who knows what, what's the point in testing for like whatever you're going to get sick with anyway? I have the ability to work from home and, I just had everything delivered. Oof. And just didn't worry about it.
Sure it's expensive for you.
Actually, I had just gone like that Sunday. So it was 2 days before I got sick. I went to BJ's, which is, one of these, membership clubs. And, I signed up for the good deals on gas and man, does it pay for itself. I had loaded up on food. So I was quite lucky to have like tremendous amounts of like decent food and, perishable stuff that I was like, I gotta eat it anyway. I just didn't have an appetite for most of the period though. That was the most brutal part of it. I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing it's COVID because of how long it lasted.
Right.
But it was like 4 days of flu and then just the long tail of like, can't really eat, no energy, just, had a low grade fever that would pop back up.
You're a low energy individual.
Yes. So I did have a few things delivered. I mean, I still ran up a tab. The most extravagant was there's this like smoothie place that does wraps and stuff like that. And it's all fresh and shit. And it's pricey even when you just go in
pricey
there.
in person.
Yeah. So, I ordered from DoorDash.
Oh, God. So you spent $50 on a wrap
Oh,
and
yeah.
a smoothie.
Oh, I did. And it was so good. It was the best thing I'd eaten in a week. I could have went for the $12 smoothie, but then as I'm scrolling through, there's like an $18 smoothie that has like all this like turmeric and shit thrown in, and it's supposed to be like, specifically for your immune system and boosting. And man, I felt awesome. That was like the best $18 I had spent. I also got shit from Meijer.
It's the $5 milkshake from Pulp Fiction. Look fucking cheap, by the way.
Yeah, it does. But it was so good. I actually want one right now.
Like the 2025 version would be Travolta leaning forward. Did you just order an $18 smoothie?
Yeah. I'd be like, I'm sick. Leave me alone. Yeah, I did have to order. I ordered from through DoorDash again. I got stuff from Meijer just to get some basic groceries. I was like, I'll get some fruit and stuff like that. But that was a mistake. Don't DoorDash groceries.
Yeah, and anytime I've gotten groceries delivered, I've learned leave the perishables out of it. They're dummies.
Yeah. A whole quart of strawberries that half were green and the rest were rotten. I'm like, did you cherry pick the, like, how did that even work?
No, they're just some 20-something who goes, the strawberries.
Strawberry.
Yeah, it's good enough.
I got blackberries too, and they didn't even include the blackberries.
No, I've learned if you're going to get any groceries
Yeah,
delivered.
they're like, that's very funny. That's a phone. Nobody uses those anymore.
Right,
There's no
yeah.
such thing as blackberries.
Let's go to a BlackBerry. Mm-hmm. You need a time machine?
Yeah, so most of the time was just watching TV shows, movies. That was all I could do. I couldn't concentrate enough to read. You listen to a podcast, but then you just sit there and stare at the ceiling.
Right.
Maybe do a puzzle until your brain stops working, and then you're like, God damn it.
Well, I'll put them through my Roku so they're on my TV. They're just coming through the,
oh yeah.
you get the thing on the screen.
Yeah, I needed visual stimulation. I was going stir crazy and I needed to just.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
At some point you want to see something on the screen move.
Yeah. So and plus, Netflix is raising their prices again and it's becoming less and less valuable to me. It seems like there's like a direct relation. Every time the prices increase, there's like, less shows that I'm actually watching on it. And it's only because I have both my daughters and ex probably still,
Right.
watching it, and they would, whine.
I am down to Hulu and Peacock.
But
that really contains anything I watch are those two services.
Yeah.
Hulu and Peacock.
Yeah, Netflix is, they still knock some shows out of the park, but they don't even, it just gets buried in shit. I mean, I watched, The Madness, which was an excellent show. I really enjoyed it. And I had never heard of it because it's just like one of 20 shows that Netflix had released in that month. And it wasn't, it was from last year. I don't know how long ago. Maybe it was later in the year. Maybe it's not as old as I thought. But that was a good show. What else did I watch? Oh, they had Saturday Night. Isn't that what it's called? Or is it called Saturday Night Live?
The Saturday Night Live movie?
Yeah.
Is it any good?
Yeah, it's good. It's fun. I mean, it's barely a movie because it's about we're going to make this TV show and we don't really know what it is. That's the whole thing, right? Mm-hmm. And there's little bits of story here and there of relationships of I can't remember anybody's name at the moment. So let's start at the top. The producer of Saturday Night Live.
Beth something.
Yeah, Beth is who I'm trying to think of. But what name? I'm literally coming up with nobody's name.
McCarthy?
No, the main guy.
Oh, Lorne Michaels.
Lorne Michaels, thank you. Yes. Yeah, there was hints at what's his relationship with this woman who he's married to, but has known since they were kids and kind of have an open relationship and doesn't use his last name. It's a very, very kind of post-hippie relationship that they have. But that's not the story. You don't get it. You just get flashes of that. I mean, and it's a complete, I was going to say pastiche, but that would be different media. This is a collage. This is taking stories that people know from SNL, maybe not know. I mean, I think most of this stuff isn't that crazy. Just us being fans of SNL and growing up, not even, being old enough to have seen the original 70s stuff, but we still grew up with it. Mm-hmm. They replayed that shit all the time. So we saw the Mr. Rogers.
Now, what I'm hearing from you is what I've heard, this is the gripe I've heard against it, is it's trying to put a bunch of things that happened over a few years into 10 minutes, so to speak, on the real timeline.
Yeah, and
heard they said they make Carlin look like a prima donna, and he's not.
Yeah, that's the problem with it, because you can say, if you say this is one night and you try and stick to that, then Carlin can be an asshole for a night. So what? Anyone could be an asshole for a night on a night where you're going to open a show where you don't really know what the fuck's going to happen, right? Any character in there, so many of them of which act like assholes, it can be forgiven because this is one night. But it's not one night. We know that these are stories that take place over here. So then it becomes tricky. Is it they're all assholes because those are the stories that stick? Or are they all assholes because that was the fact?
The only thing I'm sure of is Chevy Chase is a dick, because that has just been corroborated for 5 decades.
Yeah. And he probably comes off the best in this.
Really?
Yes. I think it's because you just, he's smug.
Because I remember when it came out, they asked him if he was going to go see it. He was like, no. And then gave some, dick answer why he wasn't going to go.
He doesn't do... He's smug and he acts like kind of an asshole, but he's being told by the network, you're in this, doing us a favor, but we're looking at you as the next Johnny Carson.
So they're rubbing his balls and stuff.
Yeah. And then as much of a story as he gets is that Milton Berle shows up, played by, J.K. Simmons.
Oh, no shit.
He does a great fucking job, and he even whips it out.
Do they talk about his giant penis?
They don't just talk about it. He whips it out in front of Chevy. He's actually, I think the studio kind of pairs him up to charm Chevy Chase. Hey, you're gonna meet Mr. whatever, Mr. Hollywood, is that what they would call him?
Sure.
Uncle Milty.
I mean, he was old when I was a kid.
Yeah.
He was old school then.
So I think they kind of pair him up to like Moose Chevy. Like, we're going to like really impress this guy and bring out, our main peacock, Milton Berle. And
emphasis on the cock.
Yeah. And Milty, ends up stealing Chevy's girlfriend. And then when Chevy calls him on it, he's just like, you really want to have any kind of, dick measuring contest with me, both either physical or,
right.
or, metaphorical. So, I mean, he actually has the most sympathy, I think, from the viewers, at least from my perspective. But it wasn't that interesting because it wasn't really a plot. It was just things that happened in the movie that may or may not have happened in real life. It's just a bunch of, the story, this movie is made up of rumors. Mm-hmm. It's not even like somebody's book that they took and tried to, it's picking the craziest parts from everybody's book. And those are usually the most memorable things too. I remember George Carlin was mostly nice, but there was one night where he was a complete freak and an asshole. Mm-hmm. And here's the story, and it goes into the book, and now it's in the movie. And I get that problem, I'm a fan of George Carlin, and I don't know what he's like as a person.
Well, since 75, he was
but I do know
deep in cocaine.
Yes, I do know that if there's any period where George Carlin was going to be an asshole, this was bullseye.
Yeah.
This was the heart of it.
Yes.
But everybody's performances were great. And just as it's not long. It kind of zips by. It's an hour and a half movie. It, kind of, it takes place in real time. So, the movie opens, we've got 90 minutes until we go to air. Yeah. Cousin Greg, what's his name?
Oh, yeah.
He does 2 roles.
Who is he?
He does, Jim Henson.
Cool. I can see that.
And he does, God, what's his name? Here I come to save the day.
Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman, thank you.
I can see that too. Oh, that's cool. That was SNL?
And yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. The record player thing. I just gotta bring up the cat, cause this is too much for my drug-addled brain here. Gabriel LaBelle was Lorne Michaels. He was great. Everybody was great in it, honestly. Corey Michael Smith is the guy who played Chevy Chase. Ella Hunt as Gilda Radner. The women who played Gilda and Lorraine Newman, who was played by Emily Fairn, they were fantastic. They were probably the most convincing in their performances. Dylan O'Brien as Dan Aykroyd was good. Matt Wood as John Belushi was great.
I don't even know any of these people.
Garrett Morris was played by Lamorne Morris, which I'm wondering if they're actually related. Belushi's whole story in it is he going to sign his contract and actually be on this show? The idea of selling out, is he going to be, a real comedian and is he going to be some clown in a bee costume on TV? Cause they got to put him in the bee costume because, there's bees in the first episode of Saturday Night. Yeah. This is how ridiculous it gets too. Cause you're like, well, I know the bees didn't come till late. Okay. Yeah. But, so you definitely have to actively suspend your disbelief to enjoy it. Spoiler alert, he signs the contract and he's on the show.
Yeah.
Because, there's no suspense in that plot line anyway, because,
we know he was on the show.
Unless you're Quentin Tarantino and you're gonna have him walk off and have some alternate timeline history where he goes on to, not die of a drug overdose or something.
Yeah.
We know at least how this much is true. And on top of that, though, we have no time to explore what's going on in Belushi's mind in this, of what he's actually thinking. We just have to assume, right? He's torn up about this. He's not sure if he wants to be a clown on TV. Okay. Why? I don't, who cares? We've got too much movie to plow through.
Yeah.
And in that way, it's a 100% fan service movie. It's like when they talk about these Marvel movies where there's all this stuff that they put in to enrich it, but it only makes sense to people who understand that Iron Man's this and Captain America's that and Thor is this. And it assumes that people are going to bring all that with them to the story, which is not how good stories are told. That's how paper thin stories that you just can make, an hour and a half piece of entertainment with, maybe but for anybody who, like, how would I show this movie to my kids and what would they think of it? Okay. So in the 70s, comedians were all fucking drug-addled, sexed-up maniacs. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, there has to be more to it than that because it's not, we're interested in the stories of these, drug-fueled, sex-crazy maniacs.
This is the best period of time according to Adam Carolla.
Well, right. But this is what I'm saying.
Coke.
What's the point I'm making? There were a lot of people in that era who were drug-fueled, sex-crazed maniacs.
It's true.
We don't tell stories about them. Why? Because who the fuck are we? We don't care. We want to hear about the people who are making this great, crazy art that lasts to this day. These pieces of original entertainment that you could, like, it's almost made for today's society where you can just pull it up on YouTube and you guys never seen the Bees? And you could show that I could show to my kids now and they would probably laugh. But even if they didn't, they wouldn't go, what the fuck is this? They'd be like, okay, I get it. It's comedy, right? Yeah. This is something I recognize. It wasn't something that people immediately recognized at the time. This movie, I can't do that, right?
Yeah.
Right? I can't go to the movie with my kids and nudge him when he shows up in the bee costume and be like, you know what that's all about? And they're like, well, maybe I do, maybe I don't, but so fucking what? What do they say? Like,
yeah.
This movie is nothing but fan service. This is nothing but like, oh, we love all these characters. Wouldn't it be great to see them come back to life again? Cause like so many of them are fucking dead too. Yeah, it'd be great. But like, give us more than that, I guess. But
actually that original cast, well, Belushi's the only one that's dead. They're all still alive. Jane Kurt's still alive. Dan Aykroyd's still alive.
Gilda's dead.
Oh, god damn it. You're right. Never mind. She was the second one to die.
I thought Lorraine Newman's dead. She's still alive.
Oh, didn't she like just die?
Yeah.
Like recently?
I mean, not that long ago. Jane Curtin?
She's alive.
Okay. Andy Kaufman's dead.
Well, he wasn't a cast member though. Well,
yes. The people that they portray in the movie are mostly dead though. George Carlin. I more than half, I would say.
I guess so. Never mind. I strike my comments from the record.
Maybe not more than half. But all that being said, yeah, I mean, pop it on. Like, Matthew Rhys as Carlin is actually great. As little as he is in the movie, he's like really, really good in it. Everybody does a great job at it except for the person who wrote or then approved the actual script. That's my biggest beef is with what's his name? Reitman?
Jason Reitman?
Yeah.
Well, hey, do you want another reason to like Questlove?
Sure. I mean, I don't know if I do need one, but.
Well, while we're talking about SNL, it just came out, I think, like this week. It's a documentary about 50 years of SNL music. Mm-hmm. There's a video component, but the fucking.
I thought Devo was going to be in that.
But the just hearing this montage that he put together is crazy. Questlove put this together. This is a montage of 50 years of musical guests.
Okay. So he's got a whole band. He's going to do a little.
Oh no.
Ladies and gentlemen.
They edited,
Ladies and gentlemen.
like the editing.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Just as an editor, this whole thing is amazing.
Interesting.
And now, ladies and gentlemen.
All the music in here is from live performances.
Saturday, New York, jolt of electricity, iconic musical history, game-changing for a network show.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
Excitement, energy, adrenaline, live.
Absolutely terrifying.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I'm on SNL and you're not.
Are you ready for this? We're ready for this. Are you ready for this? We're ready for this.
Hey, he's going full girl talk on this shit. And to do this with like all these live
It's
performances,
with video
too.
and sound is the impressive thing.
Yeah. He had to have help,
Like
but
this
like
is Nelly and Franz Ferdinand.
I guarantee you, there's probably like dozens of people who worked on this,
I
but
don't
like
think it was just Questlove.
right,
And the,
but still somebody has to like put this together
he picked
and like
the performances.
Yeah,
Hall and Oates.
that's fun, and mashing up all the video like that
Yep.
too is really cool.
Hanson's so
think-
young.
You think they did like? I'm not hearing anything like sounding like it was pitch shifted either.
Nope.
Like
I've heard this. This is all
yeah.
Queen and Dave Matthews. Yup, they did it.
Yeah, too. Just so you can hear the difference between the two
Yeah.
bass lines, you know, the doon 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 and the doon 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 doon. All right.
Michael Bolton made the montage.
That's awesome. Okay. Oh man. Okay, this is 3 times that we've heard from this song, right? Oh, I read earlier today.
There you go. Morris Day and REM. Prince.
Oh, is that Prince?
Yup. Young ass Prince.
Was it? Oh, it's Super Freak underneath it.
Yup.
There we go. Okay,
Yep.
yeah, that's what I was. With Duran Duran.
Yup.
Oh, Weezer. Is that James Brown?
and Lenny Kravitz.
Ah. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. Billie Eilish.
Yeah, fucking boner.
What's the?
That's you too. Boner.
Oh, that's what the song's called.
No, that's Bono. I call him
Oh,
Boner.
okay.
And this is for the kids. This is Billie Eilish and Olivia Rodrigo. Because I guess the last 10 years did happen.
For they just wrapped up The Agency on Showtime, which was great. Michael Fassbender, but the theme is U2. It's Jack White doing "Love Is Blindness," which is a U2 song. It's just it's the worst thing I've ever heard. That's all. The Dido song,
Yep,
still good, man.
it is.
Nice, dude. How did we never put that together? the Survivor and that Dido song are basically the same.
Come on, SNL, let's go.
It's not the same as being on any other.
And then after this, they start sucking SNL's cock.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Man, do you see Jack White's pedals and shit?
No.
Like they had NAMM this last weekend, which is the big expo where companies release their new products. Companies that have in the musical instruments, recording, stuff like that.
Jack White's got pedals. Do they cost $10? Like the real ones he probably used or used to use, I should say.
From most of what he's had some out for a while. They're really affordable. Little 3-in-1 kind of skinny guy.
They should be. You've heard his tone, right?
Yeah. And it's just like, I think it's overdrive, fuzz, and then like a delay unit or something like that. I can't remember.
Like he is definitely or I should say the White Stripes, because are definitely in the category of it's how they played it, not what they were playing. Because
I feel like a lot of people, I'm iffy on Jack White. I think he's a great artist.
All the stuff I like from him is not the White Stripes. It's like the Dead Weather or the Raconteurs.
Raconteurs are better.
Yeah. Like I've always referred to the Raconteurs as the White Stripes with a competent drummer and a rhythm section. I'm sorry.
You also have Brendan Benson in there. He's a great songwriter and singer too.
And I know you set yourself up to get rocks thrown at you in the public square. I will never, ever say Meg White is a good drummer. I have ears and I was a student of music.
Yeah.
It was good for what they were doing.
But how do you feel about, I know we've talked about his tone, but do you feel like, Jack White is deserving of guitar god status?
Yes. Again,
when it comes
for his work, not in the White Stripes.
But just as a guitar player, you think he's an original soloist? Yes. I
think is he technically the greatest guitar player ever? No, but he's a good songwriter, and he's good.
Yeah, I mean,
he's from the school
Hendrix
of it's how you play it.
Hendrix, people think of him as the greatest guitar player ever. Was he technically the most
I was going
to
bring up Hendrix, but I was like, Jack White and Hendrix are not the same.
They're not, but it's
because technically Hendrix could teach Jack White a few things.
I'm sure, right? I'm sure, but it wasn't the technical ability that that people connected
correct.
to.
They're both in the category of it's how they played.
Yeah. They did Fender had an official release of his signature triple caster, which was like a Frankenstein guitar that he's used for years. And this we've seen the pictures of it. It's a Telecaster, but it's got 3 pickups on it, and they're all covered by big white plastic covers. And it's got a bunch of extra electronics on it.
A bass pickup and the top 2 strings on his guitar are bass strings? Or is that
I don't know.
Guitar?
No, I think you're right. There's so much going on in this thing. It's partially scalloped. There's a section above below the 12th? Where are we saying here?
Well, the
on either side, there's a little section above and below the 12th where that's scalloped out.
The beginning of Seven Nation Army, everyone thinks that's not a bass.
Oh, right.
That's his guitar. He's got a guitar where the top 2 strings are bass strings.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, this is a 6-string. It's just normal. Yeah, I think he's got an octaver that he can activate for just 2 pickups, basically. That's built into it. So he can take those without having to detune it all weird and just put a sub-octave on that shit and make it sound like a big fuzzy bass. But on just those pickups. I
mean, that's a song they got that's got anything close to a pocket. And the producer probably went, Meg, just 1, 2, 3, 4. Just hit 1, 2, 3, 4.
Wait, which song are we talking about again?
Seven Nation Army.
Oh, Seven Nation Army? Yeah.
Just hit the bass on 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all you gotta do. Follow the click.
I like a lot of that White Stripe stuff more than anything, honestly, because I'm not bothered by Meg's drumming, and I think that the records just have their own groove.
I'm not either. I'm bothered when people try to say she's good.
Oh, sure. But
If anything, she's competent.
I mean,
I'll
their
give her
best
that.
ones, the best ones are just, I mean, like, what is it? What's the button to button song? Another button to button or something like that?
The hardest button to
The
button.
hardest button to button.
Heard that this morning.
Yeah. That's
Another
not-
one. It's close to the pot again. Four on the bag just hit the bass drum
Yeah.
4 times. And I can't hear that song anymore without thinking of The Simpsons.
What did the Simpsons do?
They had, when they bought Bart the drum set, we've played that on this show.
Oh yeah, they do the video with like
Yeah.
the walking kit and it goes up and down the stairs and shit.
Yeah.
And the stacked amps. That's, Michel Gondry did that video for them, who, he directed, what was the Jim Carrey movie where he has his memory of his girlfriend taken out of his brain?
Eternal Sunshine
Yeah.
of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, that one. But he also did, Michel Gondry, he did the Daft Punk video where they're going up and down the stairs.
Around the World.
Around the World. He did the, Kylie Minogue video where she goes around the block over and over again, and like every time she does, there's like another version of her on top. Can't get you out of my head.
I gotta say, it can't get you out of my head because it was like,
She had 2 songs and then
yeah.
went back to Australia.
Well, no, because she had a hit in like the late '80s with the Locomotion.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
never
yeah.
heard from her again until that song.
Yeah.
20 years later, like what? Kylie Minogue, what, from the '80s?
Yeah, she got, I mean, I don't know how famous she stayed in Australia, but, I think what happened was techno in the 90s was, still an underground thing, even though there were like, mainstream artists and there was definitely influence that was coming into pop music, but nobody really knew who like the real techno producers were, even in Detroit. Like the people who knew were the DJs and producers who knew and the kids who went to the parties. And then even only 10% of those kids actually knew. But it was really big outside of the US. Germany and Australia were 2 parts where like, 2 areas where electronic music like blew up in major ways where it wasn't just influencing popular music. It was popular music, right? This was like people were listening to this shit.
That's right. Yeah, didn't she have a hit in the '90s too somewhere?
And so I think it was that techno influence that then when by the late 90s was like, it was hitting the charts. You had songs on the radio that you're like, wow, this sounds like house music. Mm-hmm. And Kylie Minogue was part of that. Like, Can't Get You Out of My Head. And, what was the other big song that she had? They were just basically house music tracks that were pop music.
Oh, now that's going to kill me because I know there's a third one in there.
I bought 2 of her albums. I quite enjoyed them. They were really good.
Love at First Sight?
There was one that she did like post 2002, like,
Magic. I feel this might be the song because it's got a ton of plays. Nope. Well, Can't Get You Out of My Head has 739 million plays. Oh, this is third. Love at First Sight is second. 72 million plays. Nope, don't recognize.
yeah, no, I think that's the Daft Punk producer. I don't think they're ripping Daft Punk. I think that is Daft Punk. Oh, did you hear that, Matt Pinfield had a massive and debilitating stroke?
I did.
Former, MTV VJ.
Well, he was old when we were teenagers. What is he now, 75?
I don't,
Like, he was 40 when we were, like, in our teens.
it's 63.
Well, then he presented 40 when we were in our teens.
Yeah, Matt Pinfield.
No, that's like almost 20 years older.
He was the guy that like, we were like, why is this old guy on 120 Minutes? Like,
Yeah. Like, how
I thought we weren't supposed to trust anybody over 30.
Was he
This
a-
guy doesn't know
yeah.
who Jawbox is.
Was he a DJ or something? Like, how did he
But-
get that gig?
I think so. But, turns out he was probably the one who knew that shit better than anybody else. And I think that's what got him on that show, is that he actually did know his shit and didn't just look alternative. Plus, you have to have some weirdo that looks like he's in Husker Du, right?
He was rocking the bald head before the bald head was cool.
Yeah.
It was like him and Bruce Willis at the time.
That was the thing too, like the pin in Pinfield and the bald head, like, I don't know. I mean, there's just too many jokes that could be made. But I guess now it's not the time.
Right.
Because the poor guy's not doing so great. 95 to 99, he was 120 minutes guy. Yeah, I guess so. Like, I guess by the end of that, I had stopped watching MTV altogether.
Yeah.
But I want, like, who was the host before that? Did they have a regular host for 120 minutes?
I'm trying to.
Or did they
think if
rotate
they did.
people through? Is it like, oh, have Kennedy do it this week or something?
I know somebody who would know the answer to that, but he's probably not awake at this time.
Really? Your Google sleeps?
Probably just went to bed. Oh, that's true. I was thinking about somebody I knew who watched MTV, and especially stuff like that at the time.
No, I'm being an asshole, and I like your line of thinking, because that's, for answers like this, it should be like phone a friend, not like look at a list.
Right.
But now that I've been an asshole, I'm
that
going
you've
to
shamed
Google
me.
those.
That you've Google shamed me.
Okay, here it is. The wiki list.
I want to say it was Kennedy.
Nope. At no point. I mean, I'm sure, I want to say that she's like guest hosted or something, but yeah. How far back does it go? That's the first question. 1986 to 2003 is the span of the show, 120 minutes. And yeah, it looks like maybe there's a couple years where they didn't do a show in like the 2010s. But okay, so it starts with Kevin Seal. I don't remember Kevin Seal at all. Dave Kendall, Louis Largent, then Matt Pinfield, and then Jim Shearer. Yeah. Wow. I barely remember Dave Kendall.
Only know one of those dudes.
Was that the one that you knew?
No, Matt Pinfield.
Oh.
End of list.
Yeah. I just have like, what are these memories where I'm picturing like a female host of this show at some point? They must have had like people rotate in at some, or maybe I'm just, maybe it's
I
just
feel like
a
I've
blur.
seen Kennedy on an episode or two.
Yeah. They did have guest hosts, but those were usually like they'd have, musicians come in, and of course we lost David Lynch recently too. Huh? Yeah, that was a rough one, but not a surprise to anybody who's seen the man, because if you've seen the man, you've seen him smoke. Because
Hey, I feel they buried the lead on him. If you do the math, he smoked for 70 years. He says he started smoking when he was 8.
now that point has been well made by people that are like, because the first thing people are, oh, well, there you go. See, don't smoke. Don't smoke for 7. Like, the man smoked more than anybody else for the longest period of time. And he outlasted the average.
Actually, no, he made it 2 years past
yes,
the
he
average
made
life
it 2
expectancy.
years, 2 years longer. He, like, it means and that's not to say that, like, you should smoke because it doesn't matter. Like, it does. I'm still addicted to nicotine through this fucking vape, but I feel a lot better than when I was a smoker.
Yeah, I've tried to explain to people, like, you shouldn't do that, and I've tried to be like, okay, listen.
Do it for your health now. Don't do it because you're afraid of something in 20 years.
I tell them, like, okay, I will give you that the science is still out on this. If you give me, like, when I wake up in the morning, guess what I don't do? Hock something into the fucking toilet.
Yeah.
Guess what I don't have anymore? A smoker's cough.
Yeah.
Guess what I don't get anymore? A respiratory infection at the drop of a fucking hat.
But it was the anti-smoking campaigns that made it so difficult to talk about, because it's like, we can't you just say, don't you want to feel healthier when you wake up in the morning, and not, it's going to kill your kids because it's secondhand.
Dr. Juice was saying it for years. It's not
like it
nicotine. It's the delivery system. Nicotine is not what gives you cancer. Like, anytime I hear someone says nicotine gives you cancer, I say, no, it does not. It's all the other shit what they give you with the nicotine is what gives you the cancer.
Yeah.
Nicotine is in the same category with caffeine, and we we market caffeine as we have shit with double the caffeine in it. Here, drink this. There's a lot of caffeine in it.
They want to label alcohol now as carcinogenic.
Well, it does. Like, I read about that.
Sure.
It does cause cancer.
Yeah.
It's not may cause cancer. It's like, oh no, it causes cancer.
Yep. I lost an aunt recently, pancreatic, and they said that it's probably the drinking.
And I hope RFK, even though he stumbled yesterday, gets confirmed. I love everything he's saying about food.
What was the stumble?
Just apparently he didn't do so hot in his answering questions yesterday.
Oh.
In the first hearing.
Yeah. Well, the guy's hard to fucking understand.
I figure that's the easy joke. Yeah.
And the people asking the questions are idiots and 100 years old.
He was asked about all the minutia, some of the minutia of Medicare, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, do you know this stuff? Do you know the answer to the question you're asking? But I finally figured it out. The example he uses is
he's not trying to get hired based on his knowledge of the current system.
Yeah.
His ability to overhaul it is what we're more curious about.
And I finally heard the example he talks about French fries. He's like, you go to Canada, French fries got 3 ingredients, right? Like potatoes, oil, salt. He's like, you come to the United States, there's 9 ingredients. Why? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Everything he's saying about food, I'm loving because I've learned about food in the last
that's just
year.
That's just looking for ways to tweak the addictive components of the recipe.
Yeah.
And Canadians are just like, what? People love fries. Why? You don't have to fucking lace them.
Yeah.
People just eat them left and right. We come up with new words for dishes that are just fucking fries with gravy on it and make it the fucking national treat.
Which, by the way, poutine, right? Yes. Like, I've always been on the as soon as I discovered gravy with French fries, it's like, yeah. Like, and I ordered them, people be like, what are you, Canadian? Look at me like I'm a weirdo. And my answer was always to them like, do you like mashed potatoes and gravy? And, 10 out of 10, the answer is yes. I'm like, this is handheld mashed potatoes and gravy. Like, what's, I don't understand what the aversion is.
I think it's a color, right? Isn't it? It's like kind of a grayish gravy. That's the main problem with it.
Poutine you're eating now. Poutine, I've had brown gravy on it.
I meant to get to this earlier because we were talking about NAMM, and I've been looking into some of the very cool gear that was coming out of the show, but this one has to be one of the more interesting and unique.
Yeah, okay.
I'm Steve Gavlin, the creator of the Fart Pedal, the guitar effects pedal that turns your guitar noises into fart noises.
This guy sounds like Tim from Tim and Eric.
You might wonder, what the hell is it? Well, it's a fart pedal.
Today I'm going to show you how to use the fart
My
pedal.
question is, who is this for?
Just listen. This is all legit too. Like this is the noise the pedal makes.
She got a harp.
She gets scared.
We launched the Fart Pedal about 3.5 years ago, and have since followed it up with a few fun variations.
Why?
Over the last several months,
he seriously sounds like Tim Heidecker.
Exploring the intersection of the musical farts and sciences.
Well, he looks like Eric if he let himself go.
Proud.
If you listen to Tim Heidecker's podcast, they do like stupid fake advertisements like this all the time.
Musical technology.
So it sounds.
I think this would be on Tim and Eric.
Yes.
Because who is this for?
And it's
what guitar player is this for?
I want one.
The most exciting new feature is
listen to the tone he gets out of it.
You'll be able to rip your favorite.
You can pitch track now. This is the second version. Before it was just random. Now you can. Now you can the national anthem.
Like, I get it. If
and with the new blend knob, you get
I know two little
just
kids.
That squelch.
I know two little kids who this would entertain endlessly. But other than that, who is this for?
Effects pedals for a truly unique signature sound.
The guy's got a whole line of them.
Oh boy. I mean, this is funny, but again, who is this for?
Just like
Come on, man. You're a local cover band, and while everybody else is tuning up, you're not just going to entertain somebody with sweet smell of my farts.
Chicago. And of course, we've kept the wet dry toggle so you can find
Oh, the wet dry
moisture
toggle,
level
of course.
of your squealing honkers. Now we are still working on refining the number 2, but with your support, I hope to have this ready to ship by March of this year, 2025. And, of course, just like the original fart pedal, it's going to come with crazy, unique, original packaging and some very collectible swag. The fart pedal number 2 is guaranteed to provide the ultimate
I think you
gas
should
relief.
support him.
I cannot wait to see the amazing things that you create with my number 2 on your pedal board.
For who? For what?
I
What
want.
musical application does this have?
I don't know. Honestly, I want one, and I honestly do want one. I don't know if I ever will buy one because there's so many pedals and pieces of equipment that I want, but I would take like a bass synthesizer, like a 303.
I mean, like if
and
I
run it through there.
Now, if I'm Weird Al, I'm ordering like the whole line.
Right? Yeah, you may have a custom one. I was watching a video of Leslie Nielsen on Conan with his handheld little fart device. Have you ever seen him do it? You know about this? Like, he was known for carrying around this little thing that he could like make fart sounds in his palm. But it wasn't a whoopee cushion. It looks like a little squeeze box, like a miniature one. And it's got an opening on one side, and he at one point licks his palm to wet it, and then like just kind of cups this thing so he can just squeeze it. And it's same thing as like I do this sometimes, do some hand farts.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. I'm
My pleasure.
actually a fan of the Naked Gun picture.
Because you can get all kinds of good tone out of that. Like you can get some squeakers.
Remember back on Saturday Night
Oh, that's
Live?
right. I was working there when you were there. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I got you coffee. You chewed me out.
I did not.
No, you did not.
I'm low maintenance.
No, I got you tea and you chewed me out. I'm
You might have to skip.
Sometimes.
Okay.
I don't know that he like whips it out immediately. He produces the device, so you'll see the visual cue of like, but go a little bit before that.
I'm going to give you something to change your life. I did too. I've had nothing but laughs. So
You don't carry this around
because
I do not
for about 30
anywhere
seconds
alone.
before that, he's just using the thing and he doesn't say anything. And they're both like, "Are you seriously farting on here?"
See,
it's not a comedy. Act as though this is deadly serious.
The director, the thing is that we know that we're being funny, but you can't let the audience know for 1 second that you're trying to be funny. Not for 1 second. Although I will do almost anything I can for a laugh.
He crossed his legs.
Yeah. He sells it well.
I said almost. I didn't say I would do anything for a laugh.
What have you got there?
Isn't that a little personal? You'd like to see it? That's what I have. There it is right there.
What the hell are you doing? What is the, hold on, let's show this.
You heard the rude noises that it makes?
Yes.
How young
did.
Conan sounds.
I know, right? How young he looks. Looks like a kid.
He's a senior golf pro, and one night he said,
Stretched out kid.
I'm going to give you something to change your life. I did, too. I've had nothing but laughs. So
You don't carry this around everywhere.
I do not travel anywhere alone. That goes with me all over.
You're a grown man. What are you doing?
Don't be too sure of that.
No, really, you bring this thing wherever you go?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You never can tell. It always comes in handy. And you never can tell when there's a certain amount of pomposity or somebody who's making you play a particular role. And if you just shake hands with somebody, it's how do you do? Tremendous grip. It's a defense.
I'm working so hard to establish my credibility.
This has got to be early.
Yeah, this has got to be.
Now, you say you take this everywhere, and I've actually heard that you do. I didn't really think you'd take it out here tonight. I was praying, but you take this wherever you go. Have you taken it anywhere where you now think it may have been inappropriate?
Well, you're always taking a chance, I'll tell you. And there are
Where's
times
the most serious place you took it?
When you're doing any kind of comedy, there's just no way that there's not going to come that time when you step over the line. But that's because of the chance you take. And there's just going to be sometimes, especially with this, where you seem to step over the line. And in that case, I say, look, I'm really playing I've Got a Secret. I know I'm doing like a kind of a practical joke. So I'll apologize or I'll show the people. Sometimes it doesn't work, but then you have to
Please tell me you've done
rely
it
on
at a
your
church.
insensitivity. I have a seminar on insensitivity if you like, and I can
Yes,
pay
I
you.
would. I would like to sign up for that.
For the insensitivity course?
Yes,
Here's
I
the
would.
downside,
What's that?
Sometimes you can be feeling good and not know it.
I would go back to this thing.
Oh, you want to?
What?
No. But do women enjoy this joke? I'm just curious.
I tell you one
Like
thing.
you're on a date and you do that, do they immediately go, "You're the guy for me"?
It's the greatest way to find out whether a woman likes you or not.
For who you are.
Yeah, not just for your money.
That's exactly it. To
All
be
right.
accepted for who you are. Yeah, you put that hits the nail on the head.
Well, I want you to let Andy hold it for the remainder of the show.
Okay. Here you are, Andy.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Here.
Maybe you should hit that 4X button, huh?
All right.
You have you have YouTube Premium, right?
Yeah.
So you now have access to the 4X speed, so you can watch videos 4 times faster
Because
than I can.
why should we take the time to enjoy anything anymore? Consume it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So you can consume more.
Oh, that was another thing that I was thinking about Netflix and why I was like, maybe I should just watch whatever's been lingering on this thing and axe it. There's actually I don't know how this is going to affect their programming, but the directive is that they need shows that tell more than show because of the way that people are consuming Netflix, where they're not really either they're, on their phone or they just put it on and then something else happens or maybe they don't even like actively watch it at all, but still want to go back to the office and say, "Oh yeah, I watched Bridgerton." Yeah. Well, what happened in it? I don't know. I don't remember that, Mm-hmm. So now you can have lots of characters say, "Okay, I'm coming into the room now. We're going to have a conversation about this exact thing. This is what this conversation is going to be about. And this is going to be the results of it. And, anything that happens on screen must be fully described." I don't know. And that's just, I noticed at the same time they were sending me more emails like the ending of The Madness explained. And I'm like, you're sending me, I just watched this show. I watched the ending of it. It wasn't confusing. It's not a twist. And it's exactly what should have happened. So why are you sending me an email that is explaining because I watched it, but you're not sure if I actually watched it. So you want to make sure that I can tell people that I watched it. And yes, I remember what happened at the end of the show that I didn't really watch. I just kept falling asleep in front of, or I was, on Twitter the whole time. So every time I wrap up a show on Netflix, they send me an email and like,
They don't want you
here's
feeling left out.
Here's what happened at the end of the show, just in case you were a fucking idiot.
They don't want you to feel left out at the water cooler, man.
I don't, like consume entertainment however you want, but like most of the stuff that I watch visually, I watch it because it's fully engaging, right? I have plenty of entertainment that I can do. Like that's what podcasts are for. I put a podcast on, I can cook, clean, do my work. I can play video games. I can do just about anything else that, cause the podcast isn't requiring my full attention. If I'm going to watch a television show or a movie, I'm going to put on something that's going to fully engross me. If they're going to start producing shows that are going to talk down to me, like what is the point of paying for that?
Oh, I canceled them like 3 years ago and I don't miss them. Maybe even 4. And no point if I gone, man, I got to get Netflix again.
That Skeleton Crew show ended up being a huge disappointment. The Star Wars
Glad
show.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah. It starts out great and just with every episode just starts going down a cliff to the point where I couldn't even finish watching it. Disney Plus was like, You still haven't watched the rest of this great television. I'm like, yes, there's a reason I shut it off halfway through.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. Like the whole secret of this planet is that they were the planet was the production of gold, these gold credits that were the currency of the Federation, whatever the fuck they were at the time, you know? And it was, basically the planet was kept secret by being covered in a huge storm. People just thought it was just this storm, like Jupiter, you know, it's just like one big storm on there. There's not even anything in the center and there's no reason to even go over there, but it was all a ruse, right? So these kids get out, and in the ship that they get out of the planet with, there's these, well, actually they have these credits because that's what everybody uses on the planet, right? Everybody on the planet has no idea that there's anything else outside, and they just think it's normal to use little gold bars as money. But like, why do they use them as money? I don't know. I thought you were supposed to be producing them to export for the rest of the world to use as some form of currency, but apparently they're using it to pay for their lunch money as well. And there's this group of pirates that are trying to find this planet because they know like it's basically unprotected. It's just hidden really well. And if we find that, we rob all the gold and I guess, I don't know, you're rich.
Retire from pirate life.
Yeah. But, you know, they're space pirates, but they still have like eye patches and weird parrots and say yar and shit. Like, what, but why? Those are kind of
really running with this pirate thing, huh?
Yeah, they just would not let go. Like, everybody's a fucking pirate. Fucking Urkel is in this, and he's a fucking pirate with one eye.
Urkel.
You know, he's in it. Mr. Jaleel White. You know, he's got his own, cannabis line too. So, but the show just keeps getting dumber and dumber and dumber. And then by the end of it, like, so Jude Law is like he's a bad guy, but he's pretending like he's a good guy to gain the trust of the kids when he realizes where they come from, because he's going to get them to take him back to the planet and he's going to rob it, right? And so when he gets there, he disguises himself as like some emissary that's there that'll like pick up something that's usually done automatically by droids, but he's there to do it personally, and the droids are just like, yeah, okay, that's fine. We can't question you because you're human or something. And even to the point where like they guide him down into the vault and show him, here's, you know, huge stacks of gold. And he just he's on his knees, like cackling with the gold running through his fingers. He's like one step away from swan driving into this thing like Scrooge fucking McDuck. And everybody is just like, yeah, okay, I guess this is what they do. Like, there's no question. I mean, not even like, let's see your credentials. Let's talk to somebody who acts like they've seen money before. You know? And like, okay, so you think kids are dumb. Not only do you think this should be a kids show, you just think kids are idiots. It was
sounds tropey.
Not just disappointing. It was like one of the dumbest shows that I've seen. And I've watched Tulsa King.
Hi.
Hey, Booger Cat.
I got a booger on my nose.
This season of Tulsa King is like really dumb. That is one of the dumbest shows. What constantly kills me about the show is how little they understand about the cannabis business, right? Because part of what he does in, season 1 is he comes across the shop and it's this whole thing. You can sell. I got guys that were locked up. Yeah, you know, I was doing time with these guys that were doing 20 years. Now you got a retail store. So then he muscles his way in on the business. And this is Martin Starr, who plays the owner of it. And so he's not playing a tough guy, and he's easily like cowed by this. And okay, you can be you can offer protection. And then he wants to be a business partner. And, so by season 2, like Martin Starr's got the most successful cannabis dispensary in the area. and they're having a grand reopening, and it's all swank in there, and people are getting high, and there's a recording studio, shrugging, and
it tends to be.
And also they're just, I mean, both Martin Starr's character and Sylvester Stallone's character are just walking, every time they're walking through a scene in this place, they're just taking stuff and putting it in their pockets. And like, that's not how businesses work.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even, yes, the owners can take it and you'll figure it out, but you still have to like track it somehow. You can't just have things not go missing and go, did we sell it? Did somebody steal it? Did Sylvester Stallone put 20, suckers into his pocket when he was in here last time?
People get fired for shortages like that.
Yeah. But they're the most successful. Oh, and their competition is like the triads who are muscling in from New York, and Frank Grillo, who owns his own farm I'm like, guys, I know it's a cannabis business, but it's like any other business, guys. Have you seen these? These are not gangs operating cannabis. I know people who own and operate cannabis farms, grow ops, dispensaries, all of it. Mm-hmm. They're just dudes. None of them are even like connected with crime at all. Because if they were, they wouldn't get any of their fucking business licenses approved because they're licensed up the ass to do this shit.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, do a modicum of research about what it's like to own a business, period, and work in cannabis if that's what you want to be part of your show.
Yeah.
And it's just so disappointing. And Martin Starr has nobody's writing good stuff for him to say. They're just like lame, snarky comebacks. And Sylvester Stallone you feel like he's like improving a little bit in every scene because he has to like be the last one to say something in every scene. Oh, you said I was old. Oh yeah, that was good. That's how it's seen as. It can't end on the guy making a joke on Sylvester Stallone being old. It's got to end on Sylvester Stallone acknowledging that he got and getting the last laugh and maybe a little punch on the shoulder that's just a little bit harder than it needs to be.
Hey, you got me, buddy.
And it's the dumbest thing. It's not rooted in reality at all. Like he goes to a restaurant, takes a woman out, and there's his competition knows that he's at the guy that he's vying over the cannabis farm with and all this shit. He knows that he's at the restaurant. That's like his place. And so he sends over a nice bottle of wine. Yeah, I didn't order it. What is that? Oh, sir, it's one of our finest wines. Compliments of Mr. Blasenblanc. Hopes that you and your date have a wonderful evening tonight. Oh, huh. Isn't that right? Well, one of your finest? All right, I'll tell you what. You bring me 2 bottles of your absolute finest and send one to that table over there. Oh, right away, sir. How does that work?
Right.
No, the waiter says, I'm sorry, this is what was ordered for you, so you can refuse it, but I can't have you run up somebody else's tab with like $8,000 bottles of wine, 3 of them, because you say so.
Right.
Like he's literally, the waiter says, right away, sir. At the end, this is the last thing and then we'll wrap up for today, but part of the plot in season 1 is he not knowing that she's I think ATF agent or something like that. He hooks up with this woman and she doesn't know that he's a criminal. I mean, he's Sylvester Stallone dressed like a gangster, but she has no idea that he's involved in organized crime. And they sleep with each other and then they find out afterwards like, what? And so now it's the whole thing of like, oh, this is going to be like, out of sight. We're going to be Clooney and what's her name? Jennifer pop star Lopez. Clooney and Lopez. Sexy cop versus sexy criminal.
Sure.
Okay. So that's kind of the stinger on season 1 is that he gets arrested for trying to bribe an agent because of some gift that he had given her. right? I think it was like $1 million or something like that. And it was something that he had arranged. There was like some deal going on, and he managed to like keep her from knowing about it, but like got her a portion of it to say thank you for other things. And she used that as leverage against him. And, so anyways, the first 3 episodes of this season are the trial, and he represents himself.
Cause that always goes well.
And, is like within 3 episodes, it's not even like, there's nothing tense to it. Like we don't see any of the jury deliberation or anything like that. We see him act like a lawyer in court, ask ridiculous questions, not be challenged on anything. And then the jury comes back not guilty and everybody celebrates. And then we move on with the rest of the season. And I'm like, what was the point of any of that?
Hey, I could be a lawyer too.
That is the point. That is exactly it. It was supposed to be, hey, it would be cool. And they're like, all right, we can do that.
Hey, maybe he's good at lawyers too. End of story. I'm good at law. That's what I was thinking. Like they're doing a mock trial. I think that was end of story. I'm good at law.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't even put up a defense for himself. He puts the woman on the stand, the agent, right? Something the prosecutors.
Hey, do we have sex? And defense rests.
Right. He's like, she's his special witness, right? The prosecution rests their case, and they give Sylvester Stallone's character a chance to, have his. And before he does, he's got a special witness that he's going to call, and in walks, to the gas for everyone, because she walks in from the back of the courtroom, the agent that accused the person of trying to bribe them, right? Probably the most likely person, the first person to take the stand in most cases like this and say, that guy gave me money to do things for him that were illegal, and I didn't do them, and I reported them, right? But no, the prosecution never asked her to the stand. She's a surprise witness for the defense, and they talk about how many times they slept together.
Hey, did we bang? No further questions, Your Honor.
And how she did things that ended up basically saving his life also in season 1. She knew that there was going to be a hit out on him, and she didn't want to see him die. She'd rather arrest him. So she saves his life, and that's part of like why he's paying her this money. But he's like, well, if somebody saves your life, wouldn't you want to do something nice for them? Case closed.
I'm good at law.
It wasn't a bribe. So anyway.
No further questions, Your Honor.
The show is dumb as nails, and it's a Taylor Sheridan show. Like his other shows are a lot smarter. Landman was really, it was dumb in ways that it understood, but its plotting and the way the characters acted, it all made sense. It's very smart in that.
Yeah, I did enjoy the 2 viral clips from that show. The one where he talks about drinking, and the other one where he talks about Diesel.
Yeah.
He says, tell you what, how about I drink 6 of these, and then tomorrow night you give me 6 whiskeys and you tell me.
Yes. Yeah, he says he's sober, and he's like, give me another, like, whatever.
He's drinking a Mick Ultra.
Yeah, the old Michelob Ultra. Yeah, most of the best parts of that show are just Billy Bob swearing. God damn, man, shit.
The first one that went viral was him with the what was it, the activist going out to the wind farm.
Yeah.
And just talking about all of the fucking diesel it takes to fucking make those things.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a drug deal that goes wrong. They land a plane on the highway that they built to transport the oil, and a big tanker comes along and smacks into it because it's not expecting a fucking prop plane to be on the freeway, unloading a bunch of crates. And so he shows up at the site, and the cops and the emergency are all there, and he's got to plan a route he's like, well, oil's still got to flow. He's like, how am I getting around all this? He's like, we're going to run a road around there. He's like, cops like, you can't run a road over there. Why the hell can't I run a road around it? He's like, cause there's a bunch of dead drug dealers over there. And he's like, well, all right, how about on this side of the road? Is there any fucking dead drug dealers over there? And the cop goes, I don't know. And he's like, well, shit, let's go check. God damn it. And it's just everything is like, God damn it, shit, fuck, man. All right, let's go.
I believe the overall point of the show, other than the story arcs of the characters, is you can't just say, no more oil.
No, you can't.
No.
Yeah. They hammer it home a little too much, honestly, about how it's in everything. But yeah, we couldn't have a podcast if it wasn't for oil.
Probably, somehow.
Well, are we going to make all this shit out of wood?
That's true. Fair enough.
I mean, there's some metal in here, but most shit's plastic.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
But all right, let's wrap it up.
All right. The social media is at the Weisman420. The website is at ChristopherMedia.net, where you can help us out with the PayPal button. And Kyle, thanks for the donation. I was watching football. Kyle sounds like $50.
Hey.
I was like,
thanks, Kyle.
Cool. Thanks, Kyle. You made my night, because I think we lost that night. But yeah, you want to be like Kyle, you hit the donate button, the PayPal button. You can help us out there. And another way to help us out, if you can rate and review us, helps other people find the show.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
That helps big time.
Yes. And stay high.
Stay high.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.